Want to know why? Ask how. Howard the Humongous. This week, the president racked up a bunch of victories. He's trying to get a veto-proof minority. Yes, a third of the American congressmen and senators to vote for his Iranian deal in order to sustain it. Thus, he will be able to sustain a veto, with Congress voting 2/3 against him. Is this Iranian deal really a good idea? Or is the right and the Republicans, are they just bellyaching about this because they want to torpedo Barack Obama, something they've been anxious to do ever since he took office? Judge for yourself. Here are 11 things you don't know, but should know, about the Iranian nuclear deal. First of all, the White House has been leaking all kinds of messages saying that Israel is meddling in American politics and getting involved in this deal. No, I'm sorry. America is meddling in Israeli affairs. Israel is the only country on the face of earth targeted by another country for extermination. Normally, you would think that any right-thinking country like ours that's for human rights should be against the country that is touting its goal of exterminating another nation. But that's not the case. Just as this deal was being announced at a terribly delicate time when you would think that the Iranian supreme leader would be trying to make himself look as peaceful as possible, he was not trying to make himself look as peaceful as possible. He was doing the opposite. He issued a glossy, fancy, made-for-the-general public, 9-part plan on the internet for the elimination of Israel. 9 parts for the elimination of Israel. His basic approach was unrelenting terrorist attacks on Israeli citizens year after year after year until the Israeli Jews picked up their bags and went someplace else. And Islam was able to take over this territory that's actually been historically in Jewish hands for 3,200 years, 3,200 years. Does this sound like we are making a deal with a peaceful nation? Does it sound like Israel should have been absent from the negotiating table? No, Israel should have been leading the negotiations. No other nation has the stake in this that Israel has. That's point number 1 and point number 2 that you didn't know. Point number 3 is that we've agreed to give advanced nuclear technology away in this deal. There is a lot of verbiage on it, and we won't go into it. Just take my word. No, we'll tell you a little bit. EU and E3 plus 3 countries and international participants will engage in joint projects with Iran, including nuclear power plants, research reactors, fuel fabrication, agreed joint advanced R&D. Let me repeat that, advanced R&D in nuclear matters, such as fusion, establishment of a state-of-the-art regional nuclear medical center, personnel and training, etc. And it goes on about the technology transfers that we have committed to making to the Iranians to give them advanced nuclear capabilities. And then it says we will even work out ways to finance this advance in R&D, despite the fact that this deal is going to free up $150 billion for the Iranians. But we'll get into the $150 billion in a second. The deal only covers inspection for Iran's 3 known nuclear sites. Well, we know that Iran has hidden nuclear sites in the past because until 2 years ago or so, we only knew about 2 nuclear sites. And then we discovered one that the Iranians were hiding. This deal provides no inspection regime whatsoever for any nuclear sites outside of these 3 declared sites. If we find a secret site under this deal, we do not, contrary to what the White House is saying, we do not have a right in this deal to inspect the hidden site. We have a right to go through a lot of paperwork and rigmarole, but ultimately, that's all we have a right to, is paperwork and rigmarole, not inspection. That's crazy. The president says that if the Iranians cheat, there's a snapback provision. Guess what? Read the deal carefully. There is no snapback decision. In fact, or snapback provision. We are being told that it will be so hard to put together the group of countries who imposed sanctions on Iran, the sanctions that allegedly brought Iran howling to the table. It will be so hard to resurrect those, that there's no way we can stop this deal from going through, that those sanctions are already falling apart even before we sign a deal. That's what we're being told. So how could we possibly have a snapback of the sanctions? No way in hell. We are being lied to. Remember, I am a registered Democrat. I voted for Barack Obama twice. I don't like it when he knifes me in the back. I don't like it when he denies me the transparency that he promised. I don't like it when he makes deals like this and keeps them secret. There are a whole bunch. It took a long time to get any publication of the details of this deal whatsoever, and there are still a whole bunch of amendments that are vital to the deal that are being kept secret. Is that the America Barack Obama promised us? An America of transparency and a well-informed citizenry? That's not even a democracy. Next, the $150 billion that this deal will free up for Iran is going to be used for proxy armies in Lebanon, Gaza, Yemen, Iraq, Syria, and who knows where all else. Remember that Brigadier General Qasem Soleimani, who runs Iran's proxy armies, it's a group called the Quds Force that he runs, that runs proxy armies, started his career in Afghanistan. So God knows what other territories. Libya's unstable now and could easily be taken by an Iranian-style revolution. Algeria and Morocco and Tunisia are unstable right now. Countries like Dagestan and Chechnya on the southern fringes of Russia are unstable. Bosnia has been on the Islamic to-be-taken list for 20 years or more. The next, an Iranian analyst, Mohammad Sadid al-Husseini, who was a former advisor to an Iranian president, Khatami, said Saudi Arabia is on the verge of extinction. The Saudis are quaking in their pants over this deal because they know Iran wants control of the entire Muslim world, all 13,500 miles of it, going all the way from Algeria to Aceh and Indonesia. They know Iran wants to control that world and wants to control the Middle East. And Iran is on the verge of getting that control. And now a major Iranian figure has declared Saudi Arabia a tribe on the verge of extinction. How would that make you feel if you were a Saudi? Husseini further said, this is him talking, an Iranian talking to you, an Iranian official, we, in the axis of resistance, are the new sultans of the Mediterranean and the Gulf. Do you really want Iran to be the sultan of the Mediterranean Sea, the sea around which are clustered nations like Spain, Italy, and Greece? I suspect not. Meantime, the $150 billion freed by this treaty or by this agreement is going to be used to advance an already very advanced missile program that is on the verge of long-range ballistic missiles that will allow Iran to aim nuclear warheads at any city it wants in the United States, including the city where you are watching this tonight. And the deal apes a deal we made with the North Koreans and held up through the 90s and the early 2000s. Guess what that deal resulted in? In 2006, North Korea began testing its nuclear weapons. The deal got us nowhere, and it was very similar to this deal. And what are Iran's goals with all of this? Let's remember a basic phrase from the Ayatollah Khomeini, the founder of revolutionary Iran, the man whose doctrines control the moods and the decisions of the supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khomeini, the guy currently running Iran today. What did Khomeini say? Quote, Muslims have no alternative to an armed holy war against profane governments. Holy war means the conquest of all non-Muslim territories. Islam means the conquest of all non-Muslim territories. It will be the duty of every able-bodied adult male to volunteer for this war of conquest, the final aim of which is to put Quranic law, that's Sharia law, in power from one end of the earth to the other. Does this deal do more to make the world a safer place, or does it primarily aid in the achievement of the Ayatollah Khomeini's long-term goal? Islamic conquest of the entire world, including North America, South America, and Europe? That's a question for you to ponder. I suspect that it's too late to change or replace this deal because we've already gone too far in dismantling our sanctions structure. The bottom line, we have thrown out the baby, and all we're left with is the bathwater. This is Howard the Humongous, speaking to you from the future. It's your job and my job to make. Or, want to know why? Ask how. And now for the real puzzle of the night, which I'm trying to do with my other hand these days, which should make it easier, finding where is it? That appalling little off button. I think I've got it.